the Oscars and their woke-ass agenda.
Critics are calling The Killer a hollow but surprisingly watchable filmmaking exercise because they're, one, too cowardly to say they didn't like a David Fincher film, and two, too dumb to pick up on the subtext. The Killer is a travelogue of the socioeconomic ladder from the bottom to the top, concluding on a revelation of class consciousness. The film opens with Michael Fassbender's unnamed hitman monologuing about society being built on the few taking advantage of the many, and that you'd better make sure you're among the few. At the end of the film, his monologue is an acknowledgement that he's one of the many.
Maybe you're just like me, one of the many.
So there you go. He says it right in the dialogue. You can't call this a stretch. I like how this theme sneaks up on the viewer. This is your classic hitman story where he f***s up a job and now his employers want him dead, so he's got to take them all out to protect someone he loves.
Hello? Hello? Beach?
It's not really until the second half that the issues of class disparity start to creep in. If you scroll through YouTube shorts, you'll see a lot of clips where some cool guy protagonist is talking tough and then beating up a bunch of black or Mexican guys. And in a lot of movies, that's all you get is a power fantasy about being tougher than your wife's boyfriend. Criminal organizations in these movies exist as a delivery system of nameless goons for the hero to beat in squash matches. In The Killer, the protagonist's aim is to dismantle the system itself, and every one of his targets is an example of how a system of privilege and oppression makes us all complicit. He starts with the poor cabbie who drove the goon that attacked Fassbender's girlfriend at his hideout in the Dominican Republic. The cabbie talks about having been desperate for fares that night. He moves on to the lawyer, a middle manager type who oversees the day-to-day operations of the assassin's agency. He later discovers that the only reason the lawyer turned the goons on him was to upsell the client, collecting another $150,000 on the job for what he calls insurance. Then he gets after the goon who invaded his home, this New Zealand bodybuilder whose house speaks to a better paying job than you'd expect a guy who looks like this to have. Next up is Tilda Swinton, a high-ranking assassin who oversaw the whole operation, hiding her snake-like nature behind the trappings of class and sophistication. Finally, he confronts the client, some kind of tech billionaire guy who's forgotten all about the hit by the time the killer sneaks into his home.
I break into your home, middle of the night, with a silenced pistol, and you have no idea why I might be here.
Here, the killer is not after revenge. He just wants the billionaire to know how easy it is to sneak into his fancy apartment anytime he wants. So this had better be the end of it.
If I have to come back, maybe a radioactive speck in the lip of your favorite coffee mug, or a tragic misstep into your penthouse elevator shaft, I'll find something fitting.
I don't know how accurate the killer's methods are, but even if the details are fudged here and there, the general approach probably isn't, and the technical, detail-oriented presentation of the film, focused heavily on the mechanics of break-ins and sneak-ups, has the movie reading more like a tutorial at times than a narrative feature film. If the movie isn't a call to arms, it's at least a word of warning. You guys aren't that hard to get to, so let's stop and think about how far you really want to push the working class. All of this is not to say that the movie comes off like an essay. Class war is the subject, but the character is a man who thinks that servitude to the rich and powerful makes him one of the few. After a series of violent encounters at every level of society, he starts to grasp that he's one of the many, a lot closer to being a bum than he is to being a billionaire. Movie of the year. And if you don't like it, it's because you're stupid. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.